Alright, what's going on, guys? So this is my first video where I'm actually talking to you. So I'll be going over the 6th gen Camaro's competitive mode, launch control, and no lift shift. I can't speak on the 5th gens. I know they have some of those features, but this is going to be about the 6th gens. So first of all, we're going to take a look at this, and we're going to read every page. No, I'm just joking. Alright. Here, let's just turn on the car first of all. So, let's just go over the driving modes first. So, down here you have your track mode selector. Right now it's in touring. And you can go into sport, track, snow, and ice. I don't know who the hell uses that. But I mainly drive my car in touring mode. So, each of these modes, what's different about them? So, the SS 1LEs come with the dual mode exhaust, and in each one of these modes, the exhaust is going to open up higher up in the RPMs. In track mode, it's always open. In sport, it comes on around like 3,000 RPM or full throttle. In tour, it's a lot more lazier. But I go into the actual car and I just have it open all the time in track mode. And then suspension wide in these modes, so the dampening is just going to get stiffer by mode, touring being the softest, track being the most aggressive. And then steering feel is going to be a lot different from touring versus track. This touring is very light, track is heavy. I personally like the touring mode the best. I think it feels nice and light and gives enough communication through the steering because the front tires are so massive. Alright, so let me get into competitive mode now. Or actually, let's look at the traction control button. So first of all, if you press the traction control button once, doesn't matter what mode, traction control is completely off. So you will spin the tires. If you're a beginner, I wouldn't recommend this. Stability control is still on, so the car will brake the tires for you if it sees there's enough slip angle going on, but with traction off, the tires will spin. Now, if you press it again, you're back in traction control on. And one thing about, if you just leave traction control on and stability control on, and if you're driving the car hard, I noticed that this system is lazy to respond, but it comes on very, very aggressive. It's like hitting a wall. So I recommend being in competitive mode on track, but we'll get into that in a little bit. So if you press the traction control button on or off for like 5-6 seconds, now stability is off. Traction control and stability are both off right now. So the car is in your hands. You can take this car and wrap it around one of those poles over there, whatever you want to do, it's up to you. Alright, press it one time, everything's on again. So competitive mode, let's talk about that. Competitive mode is this thing GM does with their cars. It just makes the car, you can drive it on the edge more, but the stability and the traction's still on. So we'll go into sport, right? You can only do this in sport and track mode. So what you do now, you press the traction control off button twice. And you've got to do it in a weird way where it's like a second gap in between, or you can mess it up. It's kind of strange, but once you know the feel, you know it. I'll do it again. I'll show you on the screen, so I'll turn everything back on, and I'll press it twice. So competitive mode is on now. In sport mode, what I've noticed, it definitely lets you spin the tires a little bit. Stability is still there. It lets the car play around a lot more. This is a good way to drive the car if you're a beginner. You want to feel the car, the driving dynamics a little bit more. And also when you're in this mode, so we'll get into launch control right now, you can only get into launch control with the 6-speed manual in competitive mode in sport or track mode. So if I take the parking brake off, if I put it in first gear, right, and I let go of the brake and give it gas, it's going to rev up to about 3,000 RPM. And that's launch control right there. I'm rolling back because I'm on a pretty big hill. So that's how you engage it, and when you want to just launch it, just let your foot up on the clutch and the computers will work out the wheel spin and everything, and you'll be good. So turn back traction, everything's on. We'll go to track mode. Alright, so now if we go to competitive mode and track mode, look what happens. Interesting. You have all these options here. So in wet, obviously you want to use this in wet. I've used this in the wet. It's a very good system. It's pretty hilarious the things you can do in wet mode. You can go full throttle around a turn in the rain and the car will just find grip. The computers will just give you as much power as it can. And the stability is amazing. I really like using that mode in the rain while driving hard. It's a lot of fun. Dry. So what active handling is, active handling means that the stability is still on. And dry, it's like wet mode, but obviously the car is going to give you some more power. It's still pretty restrictive. And then Sport 1 is a more aggressive version of that. Now Sport 2, now the nannies start coming off a bit. The car can really move around on you. It's still pretty aggressive for my taste, but race fixes all of that. Race mode, everything is basically off. The car can get pretty sideways here and there. It will help you out when you're really on the edge, and when you're really pushing on track and you want those fast lap times, you make some mistakes, you just get on throttle a little too early, traction control will come on and it'll even out the power. And this exhaust sounds so amazing with these settings. When traction comes in and it hits the fuel cut, it just sounds like hell. It's hilarious. I have a video of in the wet, and you can hear the engine is just going absolutely nuts. So that's competitive mode right there. So I'll turn everything back on. I'll actually just do a launch for you guys right now. I'll go into sport. So we're in competitive mode and sport mode. Remember, it doesn't matter if you're in sport or track. Turn off the handbrake. Hopefully there's no police around, but whatever. And that's a launch right there. Pretty straightforward. And another thing about rev matching, so these indicators right here, whatever these paddles, these are for the rev match. Doesn't matter which side you press. So you press it, it's on. Watch, I'll go into first gear. You see how first gear is yellow? Whenever the gear indicator is yellow, means rev match is on. If I turn it off, the gear number goes to gray. That means it's off, and tells you as well, but it's a neat little trick. So guys, I'm going to show you what no lift shift is like. Just keep your foot buried after 5,000 RPM. Don't lift off the gas and you're good. Alright guys, so that's my video. It's my first time talking on camera. Comment what you guys think. Did this help? What could I improve on? I know the quality and the presentation isn't the best, but yeah, I kind of like doing things botched, but yeah, whatever. Let me know if you want to see more. Let me know if you want to see a full review on this car or not. Appreciate it. Thanks. See you guys. Bye.